Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we have some really big updates for the new car market. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you need to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you need to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So this data on the new car market comes from Cox Automotive, and the first big piece of data is that new car affordability is actually continuing to improve month over month. So in January, you needed about 44.2 weeks of income to purchase the average new car. So the average American needed that much income to purchase the average brand new car. February, it dropped down to 43.2 weeks of income needed to purchase the average brand new car. Now, something to note, this is still extremely high compared to historical norms. Historically, it usually is in the, mid to low to sometimes higher 30s in terms of the amount of weeks of income needed to purchase the average brand new car. And so new cars, although are becoming slightly more affordable, they're still pretty dang unaffordable in historical terms. Now, the reason as to why cars became slightly more affordable is actually twofold. So first off, median income increased by 0.3% in February. So people are making slightly more today than they were yesterday. So that helps out with affordability, right? If people make more money. But obviously, if car prices go up, then that's not going to help out. And that's not what's happening. Car prices are still going down with new cars. And on top of that, it's actually trifold, I guess. The other thing is that interest rates also slightly decreased in February. The average interest rate on a new car. So the average interest rate, if you guys are wondering, 9.17% on a brand new car, which is crazy high, but lower than what it was. And so this leads to the average payment on a brand new car decreasing down to $765 per month. If you're wondering, the payment average in January was $781 per month. In December, it peaked out at $789 per month. So again, still really high, but it's trending downwards. If you're wondering, Cox Automotive states that the average American can afford a car payment of about $400 per month. So the average brand new car is out of reach for the average American. And again, the data point showing that it takes 43 weeks of income to buy the average brand new car shows that, yeah, the affordability is still not there. But again, it's improving. Now, the next big update on the new car market is in regards to new car availability. Availability is improving. Now, this data comes from the sales month of February. At the closing of the month, there was 1.8 million new vehicles available for sale, which is a 56-day supply. And on top of that, like I said in the last point, cars are becoming more affordable on the new side of things. So the average price of a car listing price was just over $47,000, which is slightly less than what we saw in January. So there's more cars available and the prices are starting to somewhat come down. Now, if we compare the numbers to January, January saw 1.75 million new vehicles available for sale. And if we compare things year over year, this is a 68% increase in inventory. There was just over 700,000 fewer vehicles available for sale on the new car market at the same time last year. So closer to 1 million units available. So this is huge improvement. Now, what this report states is that a 60-day supply is apparently the ideal amount of supply for the new car market. We're at a 56-day supply, so we're pretty close to that amount. Now, the reason why a 60-day supply is considered ideal is this is enough supply so that customers actually have access to cars, like pretty decent access, but it's not so much supply that there has to be massive discounts put on vehicles. And this is why you see manufacturers trying to get as close to that amount as possible. And I think two really good examples to give in our market to explain why 60 days is really good is Toyota versus Jeep. If you look at Toyota, they have a day supply number that, I can see right here, is less than 30 days, whereas Jeep is over 100 days with their day supply of inventory. And so if you go to a Jeep dealer, they're discounting their vehicles because they've just got too many of them. And that's what they have to do. And that's obviously not ideal for dealerships, and it's not ideal for manufacturers either, because right, that's leaving money on the table. Whereas with Toyota, it's the exact opposite, where dealers have no incentive to discount their inventory because there's just not that much inventory to be had. And then on top of that, customers have really long wait times as well. And so that's not an ideal situation either. It's like, well, we're getting the amount of money we want for the cars, but we're losing customers to other brands because we don't have any cars to sell them. And so again, that's why that 60-day supply number is considered the Goldilocks zone. But the next thing to note is that although there are more cars on the market for sale, there are also more sales happening. Sales are up by about 9% year over year. And so this shows that, yes, we have more and more cars stacking up in dealer inventory, but more people are also purchasing cars. So the overall like new car market is starting to grow again, which is, somewhat of a positive sign. Now, the last data point that I want to mention before we move on to the next section is the amount of new cars that were available back in 2019, just to give all of you perspective. Back in 2019, there were 3.78 million new vehicles for sale in the US market, which was a 115-day supply. And I worked at the car dealership at this time in the car market, and let me tell you, this was a time where everything was getting discounted a massive amount because everyone had tons and tons of inventory. And I think that's why this current inventory situation feels so weird, is because it went from a market that was way too like high in volume with vehicles to a market where it was the exact opposite. Now, the next section is going to be in regards to the average transaction price for a brand new car. Earlier in the video, I talked about how affordability is improving, and the transaction prices definitely show this. So the average transaction price, so this is actual price paid for a car, it was just under $49,000. So this is apparently after all the taxes and fees and everything are tacked on. So the other, $47,000 price I gave you guys, that is listing price. Transaction prices, after people actually buy the car. So this is down by 1% compared to January, $705 less. However, this is up by 5% year over year, $2,500. And this is where I find things to be extremely interesting, because last year, the average transaction price for a brand new car was over MSRP, whereas this year, the average transaction price for a brand new car is under MSRP. But $2,500 is the difference between last year and this year. So what that means is that automakers increase the MSRPs in their cars by such a large margin that even though people are paying under MSRP for cars today, you would have still paid less for a car last year than what you'd paid this year, even if you paid over MSRP for a car last year. So let's pull everything together from today's video and come to some sort of conclusion. So first off, new car availability is improving because although there are more people currently purchasing new cars today than they were at the same time last year, automakers are manufacturing cars at a faster rate today compared to what they were doing last year. And so overall availability of new cars is improving. And because there's more new cars available, this is naturally going to pull prices down. However, prices are still extremely high compared to what they were historically. And so this is really a market of haves and have-nots. You have to have a very large income to be able to purchase a brand new car. The average American cannot currently afford a brand new car. Again, the report states that the average American can afford about a $400 a month car payment, and the average brand new car payment, right, is closer to $800. And so cars are basically twice as expensive as they should be from a payment perspective, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're twice as expensive from a price perspective, because again, we've had the interest rate increases that have been pretty drastic over the course of the last year. And if you basically scaled back the interest rate to what it was a year ago, so you could get like a maybe 2 or 3% interest rate on an auto loan, and then you scaled the prices back slightly, then what you'd see is that cars are not 2 times too expensive, but maybe they're closer to like, 20, 30% too expensive. But again, that's just, fluff at this point. So regardless, it looks like these trends are going to continue with the market. So again, we're going to see more and more new cars available unless manufacturers start doing stuff like what General Motors has done, where they're cutting production with certain vehicles to basically keep availability down, which is a very interesting tactic. So if manufacturers don't do that and they continue to just manufacture vehicles, that means that, again, naturally these trends should continue, and frankly they should potentially escalate. And something that the report said that everyone's kind of been saying is this has become basically a game of who's going to blink first. Which automaker is going to just overproduce like crazy and then incentivize like crazy to get rid of all the vehicles they've overproduced. And if I were a guessing person, or if I were a gambler, I would put my money on Stellantis at this point, because they already have some incentives on vehicles, and they happen to have like the most amount of brands that have day supplies of over 100 days. Like I think Jeep's over 100 days, Ram's over 100 days, Chrysler's over 100 days. Dodge, I can't remember if I think Dodge is actually a little bit more constrained with inventory, but I mean, there's 3 brands that are all over 100 days. I think Alfa Romeo is also in that bunch. I think it's interesting is they don't have data on Maserati, but anecdotally, I think that Maserati probably has a pretty similar day supply to Alfa Romeo, where it's probably actually Actually, now that I think about it, maybe even more. Because whenever I look at like Maserati inventories nationally, it seems like they have more cars than like the Alfa Romeo dealers. And so, yeah, basically the point that I'm trying to make is that's probably the manufacturer, probably. No guarantee that'll be the one to blink first, and then you'll probably see the other manufacturers follow suit if they start to surpass them a massive amount in volume. Let me know what you guys think about this market update and what your plans are moving forward. And well, I guess a lot of people are going to comment down below, well, when cars are $400 a month on average, and hey, I'm with you. Anyways, I'll see you.